you won't believe it. You see, when you look at the North, Islam, by nature, is a socialist religion. It's socialism. Okay? They are more prone to revolution, to change, if they are brought on board. They are good radicals. So people look at radicals and say, oh, radicalism is not good. No. Radicalism is change.
Captain Ma, solutions. What should we do?
Yeah, the solution, as he has mentioned while speaking, is in the mindset of our leaders. Our leaders need to adopt a mindset that is more open to change. More open to change in the sense that nothing is permanent. Only change itself is permanent. So if you restrict yourself to stereotypes, you're going to find yourself doing things that constrain our own interest because you want to canalize time and people to that particular model of governance or tradition, as you may have it. And even on the religion, on the religious angle, I don't like going into religion, but I can tell you that I am very, very at home with both religions, Islam and Christianity. And the first word the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam ever had from a spiritual being was Ikra. Ikra means read. So for any person to now constrain people and turn them away from education, I think it's even blasphemous. The Al-Majiri syndrome that you see beginning, or that has become a problem in the North, was actually rubbed into the mentality of the average, common man. He was made to agree, or he was made to understand that if you were Al-Majiri, you had rewards in heaven. But I can tell you that I'm partly from a royal home. There is no royal traditional ruler in the North today whose downlines is Al-Majiri.
So why wasn't there, or was there any deliberate steps to discourage or dissuade any parents who were sending their wards out to become Al-Majiris?
There was no deliberate, as far as I am concerned. They were just lip service. If you want to discourage people from actually putting their children in that line of action, it goes beyond words. You have to come out. You have to make it happen. Okay? You have to drive it. You have to give them what I call something else to do other than, the issue of having children and turning them out on the streets with bowls in their hands. So we need to modify our approach to these things as a people going forward. 54 years is a long time. I have seen, by the grace of God, 4 decades of those 54 years. And I can tell you that my own summation is we have overgrown those clothes. And we need to either sew new ones or at least add some more cloth for allowance. Yes.
But are you positive that we're looking to, discard the old clothes? That we even recognize that we've outgrown the clothes that we're wearing and that we need to get new ones, or we need to add material to the one that we're currently wearing?
Well, let me answer it this way. We're either going to do just what you've said, or events will play themselves out eventually. Look, Nigeria is bustling with challenges. People see them as problems. I don't. If people from your part of the country decide to sit on the road all day long, don't see it as a threat. It's a symptom. It's a sign that is telling you that there is a clog somewhere. If our leadership, royal, political, religious, can begin to, become less of old school, you are going to see a bond. You are going to see a connect. A lot of things, as we say today, as we say and see, are not just bad people doing things. They are actually the effects of a cause. And most of the time, when this cause is pointing in the direction of these hallowed institutions I've mentioned, they get swept under the carpet. So evidently, in time, there will be more sand than there is carpet. So the sand will drown the carpet. But what if we decide to start addressing these things? You're going to see a modification across board.
You talked about optimism earlier,
yes.
And you said that there is reason to hope. You said in the last 3 weeks you have seen action that has given you cause to hope.
Yes.
How do you see it being sustained, or do you think it was a flash in the pan moment kind of thing?
Yeah, as I said, I'm still waiting to exhale, because the army that I used to know, the army I served, just came on board. It switched back on 3 weeks ago, and I was wondering what changed, what was amiss. The army that actually goes with drive, the army that dominates and takes ground and holds it. But then we have had times in the past when we stormed an entire forest, secured it, then a little while later we lost it again. So I'm just waiting to exhale. Are we really going to hold it this time around, or is it going to be a repetition of that cycle of events of taking and losing, taking again and losing?
What do you think?
I think as it were now, they are going to take much more, they are going to make more grounds and hold it, provided what is given to them is actually what I call followed, is monitored. We have a tradition in this country of saying so much money has been released for defense, but then I expect to see a roadmap for how that money will be used. What do we want to achieve with this money? How is it going to be achieved? What are the benchmarks? What are the milestones? What can we expect 24 hours later, 5 months later, 6 months down the line? People should take ownership of these processes. People should drive these processes. That way you're going to see a commitment to what has to be done.
Do you share his optimism, Mr. Tajo?
Yeah, I'm an optimist. I have to. But the reality is this. Okay, it's hard.
Absolutely.
The type of army that you want, that we want, it's not going to happen between now and 15 years. Forget it. 15, 1-5. Do you know what it takes to train a mindset? Do you know what it takes? It takes more than that. You have to weed out. Okay, just like a conveyor belt. Some of these guys in the army have to go, and it's not just the army. We are talking about the army. Look at the Navy. Navy in Nigeria is dead. Was dead when the military ruled. The Navy don't say nothing. It's only the army. The Navy is the brainchild of any military.
What about the Air Force?
The Navy. In the Navy, you have Air Force. In the Navy, you have Army. The Navy, the U.S. Navy produced the U.S. Marine. The U.S. Navy has its own aircraft carrier with Air Force, with pilots. The Navy is more intellectual than the Army. A riffraff can go into the Army. Excuse me.
I don't know if
I'm saying,
you.
You can go into the Army. Listen. Let me be honest with you. I read Chew Yaradua's book in the 60s when they were joining the military. You know what he said? He said a lot of them failed the exams. And when the commandant called his father, who was the minister for Lagos, which was like the FCT, he said, these guys are not passing. He said, listen, I'm not telling you to teach them, just teach them how to shoot. Chicken ash. Teach them how to shoot. Handle the rifle. I'm telling you, the military, look at the military of the world. Look at a U.S. Army graduate, a colonel can rule a nation. When you go to West Point, when you look at the schools, the best schools in the world are military schools. Annapolis, my son is in the military school. Annapolis, that's a Navy school. There's Air Force schools in Colorado. These guys are trained 360 degrees in everything. They can run, look, if anything happens, they run the whole nation successfully. That is what they are trained for. Are we doing that?
But
are we
we
scientific?
don't have 15 years, do we?
Well,
Captain, do we have 15 years?
no.
Because there are strategies that we can adopt to mitigate these 15 years.
I tend to feel his perspective. You see, once upon a time, as he said, riffraffs went into the army. But what goes into the army or doesn't go into the army is informed by two things: the country involved and the time at which such is, been happening. Today, I can tell you, the average soldier cannot imbibe the body of knowledge in depot Nigerian army if he doesn't have a minimum. Now, plus minus, given our intrigues, that may be wavered or stayed or diluted for some. I won't go into that. But what I'm going to tell you about 15 years or not is I don't actually believe in the future or the past. I believe in now. If you came to me and told me you needed 15 years to do a job and 20 men